Why are you so scared to be alone? See, that alone time, that isolation time that you're afraid of is keeping you in situations, and it's keeping you around people that you don't need to be around. It's bringing you around toxicity. It's bringing you around the energy that no longer serves you. And it doesn't mean that those people are bad, but they might be bad for you. And you keep surrounding yourself around people, environments, places, and things that doesn't serve you because you're afraid to be alone. What you have to recognize in this current day and age, in this current culture, and in this current society, we are going through a natural purge. A natural purge. And I don't mean that nobody's dying or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to, not like the movie. But in a sense where people are beginning to recognize who's authentic and who's not. People are beginning to recognize who they need to be around and who they don't. People are beginning to appreciate those that are keeping it real and those who are not. You have to have the eyes to see. In order to have the eyes to see, you have to be isolated. So you can observe. So you can see who truly needs to be in your life and who doesn't. And that's now going to help you be around the right people, even if it's less people. So that's one thing. Another thing, why are we afraid to be alone when we know we have work that we need to do on ourselves? We have work that we need to do on ourselves. We have work that we have to do. We have healing to do. We have trauma to learn from and get rid of. We have a lot of healing to do. We have a lot of forgiveness to do. That isolation is going to allow you to do that. So when I see people saying, I'm scared to be alone, why are we forcing? You don't want to force anything, because when you're around the wrong people, it could really ruin your life. The only person that's in charge of taking care of your sanity, of your mental health, is you. And you're really the only person that can work on it. Nobody else can work on that for you. Nobody else can do that for you. And that's important to remember at all times. That's really important to understand, because that means that we have a personal responsibility to ourselves to take care of ourselves. And if we're afraid to be isolated, if we're afraid to be alone, then we're not going to learn those lessons. And we're not going to be able to heal the way that we need to heal, because there's only going to be some work that we can do ourselves. Nobody else can do that work for us. Nobody else can do that work for us. Right? And community is super important. Community is super important. Being around a good group of people is super important. But if you're not around a good group of people right now, you can't force that. You have to keep it real. You have to be honest. You have to say, you know what, man, I'm just not around the right group of people right now. So it looks like I have to be alone for a little bit. I know it won't be for long, but I'm going to enjoy this alone time. Sometimes we're alone because God realized, hold on, this person has never built a relationship with themselves. That's why they lack confidence. That's why they lack strength. That's why they may not have a relationship with me. It's because they're always in the world and of the world. And sometimes we could be, in the world, but we cannot be of the world. Because not every time the world is trying to help us be righteous or be the best versions of ourselves. A lot of times the world, society is going to push us into degeneracy. Stop us from elevating. Stop us from doing the right things. Tell us that it's okay to not reach our goals and dreams. It's okay to party every weekend. Oh, because we only got one life, YOLO. Well, I'm not just worried about this one life. I'm worried about the afterlife and what comes after it, and the good deeds that I do and my karma and how I treat people. And if I'm loving people like I love myself, I care about building a relationship with myself, which in turn will help me build a relationship with God. Because when you're isolated from the world, the only voice that becomes louder and louder and louder is not just your own, but it's His. The Creator's voice, the Lord's voice, will become so much more louder. No matter what you believe, I'm not pushing anything on you, but the Creator will be speaking to you, even if you're atheist. I promise you. Isolate yourself from the world. You'll find something deeper. You'll find something deeper. Scripture says that God dwells within you. And sometimes we can't hear God. We can't hear God because we're hearing everybody else. We're around everybody else. So why are we afraid to isolate? That isolation is that prayer time. That isolation is that meditation time. That isolation is that time for me to be at peace. That isolation is that time for me to relax. That isolation is where I can become more of an enlightened person. I'm spending time with myself. There was a story of Buddha, great story. Left everything, left the world, isolated himself from the world, and found everything. Found everything. Found the God within him. Sometimes we have to isolate so we can find ourselves. Sometimes we have to isolate so we can find God. Sometimes we have to isolate so we can become more enlightened. Sometimes we have to isolate so we can understand what we need to be doing with our life. Sometimes we have to isolate so we can get the gift of discernment so we can see who needs to be in our life or not. Sometimes we have to isolate so we can take a good look at the mirror to see the things and the flaws that we need to fix within ourselves. Sometimes we have to isolate. I saw a comment. I posted something on Instagram the other day, and I saw a comment, and somebody put, I posted about the importance of, putting in the work and being okay with being alone so you can evolve, right? If the grind that you're going through requires you to do that alone work, don't be afraid to be alone. You need to be alone so you can get that work done. And somebody commented, I guess nobody told you that it's very, very bad to be lonely. What is this narrative that it's bad to be lonely? I don't feel lonely right now. Right? I mean, I got a beautiful wife and she's sleeping right now, but I'm up. I got the house to myself. I don't feel lonely. Like, I'm talking to y'all. I feel community through this camera. There's community online. There's community in person. I'm not saying to not be around people, but when the work needs to get done, the work needs to get done. It's not 4 hands on the weights when we in the gym. It's 2 hands, my 2 bare hands gonna be on that weight, lifting those weights. That's how it has to be. I have to put the work in. It's my muscles, it's my life. It's my grind. It's my trauma. I don't expect my wife to heal my trauma. I got trauma from everything, from life, from experiences, from ups and downs. We all do. From people who believed in me and people who didn't believe in me. Trauma. I gotta heal. I gotta learn to forgive. We all do. Isolation helps with that. It does. It just does. Isolation is not a bad thing. I talk about isolation multiple times on this channel, but it's true. It's true. So we could be in the world, but we're not always supposed to be of the world. And we have to understand the power that we have to change our lives. Why are we scared to be alone? Change comes from recognizing that you're the only one that could truly change your life. A better life comes from recognizing that you're the one responsible and accountable for your life. So why are we scared to be alone? Why? Some of y'all maybe click this video to get an answer, but only you know the answer of why you're scared to be alone. Maybe because you want to be liked by everybody else. Maybe that's why you're scared to be alone. It's because you want everybody to like you. You want everybody to love you. Well, that's not gonna happen. Everybody not gonna like you. You can give that up right now, and that's okay. Maybe you're scared to be alone because you don't want people to feel like you're not paying attention to them and this and that. But listen, man, you got to take care of yourself, right? You got to pour into your own cup first before you can pour into anybody else's cup. Isolation helps you do that. Isolation helps your cup to look like this. And when your cup don't look like that, it's because you're not being isolated. You're not recharging. You're not regrouping. You're not doing the things that you need to do. Now, I don't have all the answers, but I truly, truly believe that being alone can help us. That it's not something that you should fear, but it's something that you should embrace. I truly believe that everybody goes through seasons of loneliness and isolation. But I believe that those are the building blocks for the life that we truly desire. So you might be scared to be alone, but there's no fear. Because when you're alone, you realize this one thing. The real will check up on you. That's how you figure out your friends and family, your loved ones. And God. You'll start to hear his voice more. Your trauma will start to be healed. Come on, man. It's too many positives of being alone. You start to fix your life. Why are we scared to be alone? Maybe it's because we have to sit with all of our thoughts. That's what it is, ain't it? Maybe we scared to be alone because now we know for real we on our own in life and we gotta take care of ourselves. Now it becomes more apparent. Whatever the reason is, if you alone right now, embrace it. Don't be scared. They don't need to be scared. All right, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching this. I hope that this can help somebody. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next video, man. Peace.